Hey, this is GatorX, and recently at Nintendo's E3 Treehouse, they showed off some gameplay for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. We did get a good look at some of the cool features in the game, but one thing was interesting: the Safari Zone was removed, and in its place is the Go Park, which is where you're able to interact with Pokemon that you transfer over to the game from Pokemon Go. Now, I don't think that the Go Park itself is a terrible idea, but the fact that it replaces the Safari Zone, which is something that fans really love, ultimately just makes it another feature that's been changed or removed in this already controversial game. It is odd because one of the main features of Pokemon Let's Go is that you get to capture Pokemon without battling them, which is what the Safari Zone, at least the original one, is all about. But it is a reminder that the Safari Zone is something in Pokemon that's been slowly fading away. Having the Safari Zone in Kanto and Hoenn and the Great Marsh in Sinnoh were some cool ways to incorporate new and different Pokemon. For example, in the Great Marsh, that's where you could catch cool Pokemon like Krogunk and Skorupi. And that's the main purpose of the Safari Zone, to be a place where different Pokemon can be interacted with. However, Generation 5, 6, and 7 didn't include any sort of Safari Zone. And in a way, I kind of see why, because realistically, what's the point of a Safari Zone if you can interact with Pokemon anywhere? The Safari Zone and Great Marsh are similar to safari parks and nature preserves in our real world, where we can interact and see animals that we normally wouldn't in daily life. However, in the world of Pokemon, Pokemon are everywhere, even in the cities. And there are things like forests and mountain ranges and wild areas right next to these cities anyway. More recently, Safari Zone-like areas in Pokemon have been means to transfer older Pokemon from other games into the newer games. For example, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the Kanto Safari Zone location was replaced with the Pal Park, which was also in Diamond and Pearl. Now, Heart Gold and Soul Silver did reincorporate the Safari Zone in its own way, but the Pal Park was kind of a precursor to the Transfer Lab in Black and White, which is even less of a Safari Zone-like feature. In Generation 5, the closest thing to a Safari Zone would be White Forest, and that's exclusive to White version. And now in Generation 6 and 7, there's no Safari Zone at all, or even transfer facilities, because we've moved on to Pokemon Bank. And realistically, the reason that we have Go Park in Pokemon Let's Go is because it doesn't seem like Pokemon Bank is going to be able to function with Pokemon Go as an app. Realistically, half of the mainline series Pokemon games don't even include a Safari Zone. And you kind of feel the sting even more so, especially in Sun and Moon, because there's an area that could potentially have become something like a Safari Zone. I have talked about this in the past, saying that the hypothetical Dream Park would be a great way to incorporate fossil Pokemon and a Safari Zone-like feature. But who knows, Game Freak isn't really going to listen to me because I'm just a small voice. But this whole situation does make me genuinely curious for what's going to happen in Generation 8. We're already at 800 Pokemon, and if we get, say, 100 more, that would put us at 900. So including something like a Safari Zone, even as like a post-game addition, would be a great way to incorporate those Pokemon into the new Pokemon Switch game for Generation 8. But as I mentioned before, it's something that's been fading out recently. The last time we saw a Safari Zone was in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and the only reason is because there was a Safari Zone in the original Ruby and Sapphire, and this was a remake. So in the end, it seems like the Safari Zone is kind of a thing of the past. It was a cool feature, but when it comes down to it, is it really necessary in Pokemon? Not necessarily, but I definitely think it's something that should stay, as it provides alternate settings in these regions, as well as different ways of encountering and capturing Pokemon. But anyway, let me know what you think. Is your excitement for Let's Go lowered because there's no Safari Zone, or are you hopeful that it's going to make a return in Generation 8? Leave a comment below and we'll continue the discussion down there. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Have a nice day.